Have you ever been in a situation so aggravating that you would rather be brutally mutilated by a zombie apocalypse? Lily Field found herself in just such a scenario, and coincidentally enough, she was nearly able to escape thanks to, you guessed it, the onset of a zombie apocalypse. All our protagonist Lily wants is to break up with her boyfriend Paul due to his sexist and controlling behaviour. Although their relationship started out strong, Lily has become increasingly distant, while Paul has grown more clingy and attached. At the onset of the film, Lily has come to terms with the fact that she no longer cares for Paul, and throughout the story she realises that her unreciprocated love breeds apathy and indifference towards him. The first act of the film opens on the protagonist, Lily, attempting to enjoy her Valentine's Day coffee. Unfortunately, her insufferable boyfriend Paul is with her, though she avoids making eye contact with him for the entire date. Paul blabbers on and on about who knows what, as Lily only partially listens, retaining even less. Until he says those 7 perfect little words. "I think I'm in love with you." Damn, she thinks to herself. But Lily came prepared with a plan. A plan to break up with Paul. A plan so amazing and foolproof that absolutely nothing stands in her way of accomplishment and freedom. That is, nothing except an apocalyptic horde of zombies that threaten her very existence. It cuts to the next day, and Lily and Paul have fashioned a makeshift barrier to keep the undead world at bay. Things seem to be okay, until Paul opens his mouth, spewing some misogynistic garbage about clothing sizes. Lily tries to talk her way into an escape, but Paul easily overpowers her. Here Lily is meek and quiet. She still refuses to meet Paul's eye, allowing him to very quickly put a stop to any form of independence Lily tries to maintain. At this stage she would rather kill than spend another moment with him. After this interaction, a zombie charges towards Lily, right after Paul shuts down another escape attempt from her. Paul shoots it with a shotgun and zombie juice covers her face. Lily takes this as a perfect chance for escape, claiming that she too will become a zombie. Of course, Paul being Paul, he asserts that she needs to stay with him because one day they will need to be married, and that they couldn't live in sin. At this point, Lily feels quite a bit agitated, angry even, and so Lily's apathetic journey begins, where she slowly becomes more accustomed to the ruthless and brutal world that surrounds her. She doesn't respond to Paul. It isn't until Paul says she needs to start thinking about repopulating the earth, eating for 2 as he so put it, that Lily finally snaps. She reveals all, how much she despises him, that she'd been planning to leave him on Valentine's Day, and if it hadn't been for the damned apocalypse she would have gone through with it. Zombies break through the walls and begin to surround them. Lily seizes her moment. Without any hesitation she grabs a shotgun, kicking Paul to the zombies and making her escape. His screams echo into obscurity, as her face is full of determination and resolve. Lily has become a survivor. Through this narrative we explore apathy, the lack of interest in or emotional attachment to something, and how it can be both a flaw in one's character or an aid to one's survival. Lily is not an apathetic person naturally, as at first she was trying to be kind in letting Paul down gently. Admittedly, Paul did not do himself any favours in this regard by declaring his love for her, but as time moves on, with Paul becoming more controlling and the zombies becoming more dangerous, Lily has a choice to make. She isn't interested in Paul. She does not love him nor really care about him. In fact, he's a huge asshole. But can she justify killing him for her survival if he won't let her go? This leads into more realistic and heavy topics of selfishness in relationships. Is a relationship worth it if there is no mutual independence and trust? Is it worth leading yourself to slaughter for the sake of another's happiness? This is the main focus of Lily's internal conflict, beyond that of surviving the external threat that is the zombies. Lily's character arc is one of realizing harsh realities, not being afraid to do what she has to do in order to survive. In many ways, it reflects a far more relatable aspect of awful relationships by showing that these difficult decisions and traumatic experiences are often helpful in learning how to survive a far less drastic reality and a more familiar one. This subtext of the dramas of relationships heightens the comedic gags of the zombies and the hilarious conversations between Lily and Paul. It subverts the expectations that come with comedy horror by exploring deeper themes in a more subtle way, using techniques common to comedy like Deus Ex Machina, and dialogue to further emphasize this. All in all, zombie love is really about the loss of love, and the journeys we take to reach those conclusions.